Hello, beautifuls, and welcome to another episode of The Gifted Table. I'm your host, Dr. Melanie Harris, and today we are talking about She Did That. And the beautiful Shunna Bradford is here today to talk about her journey as a classroom teacher, as an amazing educator, and what she's been doing for nearly 3 decades in the classroom serving the community. So welcome to The Gifted Table, Shunna. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, Dr. Harris, for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. You pulled up your seat. You are taking your seat at the Gifted Table. And I want the people to hear about your gifts, what you have been doing in education. So are you ready to get this started?
I am. Let's do this.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started. So you have been teaching for nearly 3 decades, like I said. What has been some of your top memorable experience in or out of the classroom?
Wow, I have many that I could share with you, Dr. Harris. I was teaching at a middle school, and I had a student who was very, very, very challenging for everybody. He was kind of silly and he was disruptive. And I figured early in the game that this was some attention-seeking behavior. Mm-hmm. So rather than penalize him for that, I decided that I wasn't going to penalize him. I was going to invite him to lunch with the teacher. And I allowed him to have a few other of his friends come in, and we would have lunch. That engagement with him turned his behavior around. At the end of the year, I gave him a Most Improved Student award. And at the graduation, it was called a graduation back then. Now we call it promotions and things like that, of that nature. His parents came over to me with a large bouquet of roses. And they said, I was Mrs. Foster at the time. They said, Mrs. Foster, thank you for not giving up on, let's say his name was John. He had never received an award and he did not really like coming to school. But because of my impact in that young boy's life, his mother cried on my shoulder just because I was having lunch with him and he and a few of his friends were having lunch with the teacher. That stands out the most. I've been married 27 years, and that was 30 years ago, roughly, when that particular school first opened.
So were you working with students with disabilities at that time?
At that time, I was working with a mal-moderate population of students. So he was a mal-moderate student, which meant he was diploma bound. He was a regular ed student who had some challenges, and I was his teacher.
And this is why you're taking a seat at the table, sharing your gifts. Look at the gift that you gave to that student by just seeing him. You let him know that I see you. And I know that parent to this day, I'm sure, is very grateful, as well as that student.
Actually, I learned then that because I saw the reaction of that parent, that has stayed close to my heart down through the years. That's the response you want, a response that says, we are here. It wasn't only about him, but it was about his family. As a matter of fact, at that graduation, he had his mother, his father, a few siblings, and a grandfather was with him. And when my mother said he had never received an award, that was like, okay, because I'm a new teacher then. That was a big moment. But when she cried and handed me those flowers, who doesn't want to receive some form of recognition for their labor? And who does not want to know that they made a difference in a kid's life? So that's one experience that has stuck with me through the years.
I'm sure it has. And that's what's so amazing. And so many times teachers do what they do in service to children. But what you gave him is just as much as what they gave to you. And so you said that was middle school, right? So that was,
yes,
that child had been in school, if we're counting kindergarten, 9 years and had not received recognition.
Not
but you did that. She did that. I know that changed his life.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. How would you describe your personal leadership style as it pertains to your classroom environment?
I would describe my leadership style as being very child-centered, because I allow my students to be in with me on some of the decisions that we make in the classroom. If they have ownership of what's expected, I think that they have a lot more willingness, even students with special needs, They want to feel a part. So I'm very child-centered. And once upon a time, I was more laissez-faire when we talk about those kind of leadership styles. But definitely, I've learned to be more of a transformative leader now. Awesome. I want to transform what's happening in the classroom. I want to transform what's happening outside of the classroom. So I'm a little mixture of those three.
And you are transforming. I know that you are. Tell us a little bit about how you're serving both outside of the classroom, because I know that you're involved in several organizations. So how are you sharing your gifts of learning, of teaching, of impacting others outside of the classroom environment?
Well, two things that I do that this is just who I am is, first and foremost, I am of the Christian faith, and I am a Sunday school teacher. Teaching just seems to find me wherever I go. So I'm a Sunday school teacher, and I teach children. Mm-hmm. And I'm also a member of an organization, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And what
is that organization?
Oh, that wonderful organization is the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. It is the longest Greek letter organization established by women of color for women of color. But of course, the servitude that we extend has no borders, no limits on who we are able to reach our helping hands to.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about your bragging rights, because today we're talking about she did that, what you've done, you pulled up close. What are some recognitions you have received, and which one has meant the most to you?
I've had the privilege of receiving numerous honors down through the years. I had the privilege of being a teacher of the year back in the day, years ago, when I was teaching at the middle school. And a few years ago, I had the honor of receiving Teacher of the Year for my school site that I teach at, for my district, for the county of which I work in. And I had the honor of becoming a California Teacher of the Year finalist. And recently, I have come to learn that I am also a Teacher of the Year for the CASA organization.
And for those of you who do not know, CASA is the California Association of African American Superintendents and Administrators. It's an amazing organization, and you are looking at Mrs. Bradford, who will be honored coming up very soon.
Yes.
As what now? Tell the people again.
As the CASA 2022 Teacher of the Year.
And this is a statewide organization. Come through with the leadership. So proud of you. So proud of you. Oh my gosh. So is that the one that's meant the most to you? Which recognition would you say has meant the most to you over the years?
You know, that one is new. I want to say both of them, because I have to tell you that when I was honored as the Teacher of the Year finalist for the state of California, I understood that I just missed being the select Teacher of the Year by a hair. Oh. And I was told that information was given to me. So what's so amazing is the exact hotel, when we stood on that stage at the Sheraton in Sacramento, mm-hmm. I remember hearing a little voice tell me, but you'll be back. So the banquet that's going to be held in a week in my honor is at that exact location. And only God can do that.
Look at that. Can we say full circle? Can we say she is coming full circle? And look at you, not only taking a seat at the table, but you're taking your place in the podium. I'm so proud of you. Now, listen, we all know that oftentimes women can mute themselves from speaking about their own accomplishments that we have. And when you have not given yourself any credit for something, has it made a difference? Have you had situations where you didn't give yourself the credit that was deserving to you?
You know, Dr. Harris, I do believe that there have been times when I really didn't give myself the credit, but I think it's because I believe I've made the mistake that so many women make, kind of mixing up humility and being humble versus boasting. And so we don't draw the line. So we don't give ourselves credit because we don't want to be perceived as we're boasting. So yes, I've just allowed myself to let the labor do the speaking for me. But I am in a position now And it's been 30 years coming where I'm saying, but it's okay. It's okay. It's really okay. Because as a role model, you want other people to look at you and to aspire, not so much about the awards and the accolades, but you want them to aspire greatness. So therefore, we don't have to shut our mouth. If we were going to jail and we were getting drunk and smoking weed, people would know about all of that. So they should be able to know the good. So I'm no longer holding my tongue. I'm no longer mixing what is being humble versus what's being boastful. We have an absolute right to spare loud and to cry loud and tell people what we are doing and how we are impacting the community which we serve.
And I'm so glad you said that, because you know what? Many times men do not have an issue with that. It's us as women. And oftentimes, I have to say this and put this out in the atmosphere, women of color, we like to pull ourselves in the background as if we can't step up front and be in the front. So I'm so glad that you have come into your own awareness about, you know what? I'm not bragging, I'm blessed. And I need to let people know how I have humbly served and I am being recognized. And this is what I did. And this is how I did it. And that's what I see was going to happen. Not only are you going to be an inspiration, not only are you an inspiration, but what you're going to do is share with people, and people are going to hear your story and they're going to say, yes, let me unmute the mute button.
I agree with you. As a matter of fact, when I walk into my room and we were speaking about what type of leader I am, and I wanted to say servant leader, but also transformative leader. And I also have a laissez-faire type of leadership style at times, and definitely child-centered. But when you walk into my classroom, Dr. Harris, I have a little yellow heart on my door, and there's only one word on it, and it's servant. And it reminds me when I go in that classroom, I'm a servant to the students that I am here to educate, not only academically, socially, emotionally, physically, the whole kit and caboodle, And so with that being said, I'm reminded that because I remember from whence I came and why I'm there, I understand my why. I don't want to not be able to say, yeah, I did that. But I did that with a humble heart, because I truly believe if you humble yourself, God will exalt you.
Yes. And you did do that, and you're continuing to do that. So you've talked about how you've been recognized both at your school site, within your district, as well as within the county. How has your organization supported you through this journey as a teacher leader?
My organization has been very supportive, highlighting my successes, sharing in on my successes. The superintendent actually invited me to be a speaker for the entire district. Obviously, he sees something in me, and I appreciate that. Always saying nice things. My administrator constantly giving me the open door. You got some ideas, run with them. Believes in me. We talk it over, and I can go forth with anything that I'm trying to go forth with. Very supportive of the ideas that I bring to the table, and whatever I need, I can just ask them and tell them, and they give me the resources to support me.
And that's so amazing, because a lot of people don't have that. And with you being able to get that from your supervisors, from your district leaders, and then you're pouring that back into your classroom. Just imagine how those branches are spreading and who your students will then touch and encourage. How does that make you feel?
I'm very, very, very excited about what I do, because I'm working with students now who have moderate to severe disabilities. And I'll tell you, one of the things that we recently did is I started a social club for my students called Skittle Pop. So for 5 years now, it has been sustained, and it's reaching out to other areas in the school. But what we do is we take our students with special needs, and I asked my administrator, was it okay for me to do a school-wide assembly? And she gave me the okay. We did a school-wide assembly. We did a skit of which my students made up. It was called the Rainbow People. And the whole idea was to be inclusive, to see them get on the stage and sing their songs and do their skit and do their poems, had the audience in tears. And what that did was it motivated other teachers to come up to me afterwards and say, the next time you do something like this, can I be a part of it? So yeah, very proud of what we do. Very proud of the platform that I'm working under. I'm looking forward to greater things happening at my organization.
I love it. I love it. And you call that the Skittle Pop?
It is Skittle Pop. As a matter of fact, our former superintendent of Riverside County had a day of learning conference with over 800 guests. And do you know she chose to use my Skittle Pop as her theme for her day of learning conference a couple of years ago?
Oh, look at that. You are an influencer. You are. You're inspiring people. And this just goes to show everyone that titles, they really don't mean anything.
Right.
It's your work and it's your actions that people are seeing. And
That's
that
right.
is what they're going by. So look at you influencing at your school site all the way up to the county level.
Yes.
Did you realize you were going to have all of this impact?
I did not. You know, the whole idea of Skittle Pop grew out of a situation where the students were kind of being bullied a little bit in another learning environment. And when we were able to talk to the children, they said that, well, the reason why they called them names was because they didn't know them. So that was my way of immediately the thought was, well, we need to make sure our children know each other. And thus Skittle Pop was born. We were able to take a negative situation and make it a positive. And my goal is to make sure it's sustainable, even when I'm no longer with the organization.
I want to know, who is it as a woman leader? Who is it that you really want to impact the most?
I just want to be impactful to everyone. I really do want to be impactful to everyone. And I guess the natural thoughts would go to impacting women of color, because we have been so oppressed for so many years and we've been at disadvantage for so many years. And now we see that the hidden truth is coming out, that, you know, we've been suppressed, but there's been so much talent that we haven't been able to bring to the table until we're no longer going to do that. So my goal would be to just encourage women. I'm stepping out of a comfort zone. When some people should be thinking retirement, I'm thinking of wearing another hat so that I can impact. Retirement is nowhere in my view, even at my age right now.
So then what's your next step?
You know, actually, my next step is to take on an administrative role. Right now, I'm working on a doctorate degree. My goal is to be finished by January of 2023. And then I'm going to pursue an administrative role because I do believe I can impact in that area.
Knowing that you are working with all these beautiful children, you have been for nearly 3 decades,
Yeah.
and you're a wife, and you're also a mother.
I am.
How has your family supported you throughout this journey?
You know,
How have you influenced them at home?
You know, I have to tell you that my daughter, I have 3 children. They're adults now, but my daughter I actually met on the playground. Mm-hmm. So she is special to me, because I was thinking on when you said in the classroom and outside the classroom, and we automatically think about our children, our students. But I met my daughter in a 10-minute recess. I was doing supervision for 10 minutes. And this little girl walked by with something on her face. Mm-hmm. And I challenged her to go back and wash her face in the restroom. And not thinking that she would come back, surprisingly, it was only a 10-minute recess. She came back and I said, "Oh, what's your name?" And she told me her name. My daughter's name is Michaela. And she said, "Michaela." And I said, "Hi, Michaela. How are you?" And Michaela said she was fine. And we had small talk. And the short of the long was this. She had a necklace on her neck. And I asked her, where did her little necklace come from? Mm-hmm. And she said her foster mom had purchased it for her. However, she was praying to God that he would give her a real mom. And she hung her head down when she said it, and the heavens opened. And I knew that that little girl was somehow coming home with me. And literally 3 days later, not 3 months, not 3 years, 3 days later, my husband and my son and I were knocking on her door. And that's been about 14 years now. She's still here.
Because you did that.
Yes.
One small interaction. Look at that.
It was a 10-minute recess.
And you know we like to play at our recess.
And we do.
But that small connection. Again, the second story you shared where you just really have indicated I see you. I see the need. I love it. So looking back, Shunna, what would you tell yourself now to prepare for where you are now as a leader currently?
I would tell people to educate yourselves, to read, to band yourself, to surround yourself with people who want to see you be successful. People do want to see people be successful. There may be people who don't, but I think the majority of people want people to be successful. So surround yourself with people who have positive vibes, educate yourself, read, and make sure you give back. I have about 5 instructional assistants who have become teachers because I was pushing them to step out of this comfort zone and to rise to another one. And they're teachers to this day. And when I see them, they say, I'm only teaching because you forced me to teach. No, I saw something in them that said, hey, let's challenge yourself. You have a lot to offer. Let's move it up just another step. Move it up another step. And when I see them now and I tell them what my journey is, they'll tell me, you got this. You can do this. So yeah, she did that.
She did that. Now, looking ahead, what is it that you would want and what is it that you need?
Well, right now, I want to finish the schooling. I just want the space to finish my schooling so that I can impact more. I'm not sure I need anything in particular other than time. My mother would often say, when you leave this life, God is only going to ask you one question. What did you do with your time? Yeah. All the other stuff doesn't matter if you didn't use your time wisely. So I need time, but I know that when you do good for God, God will give you back anything that anyone has taken from you. When you work out of a pure heart, he'll give you that. Because we say time, well, there's 24 hours in the day and that doesn't change. Well, I serve someone who's the controller of, he is the father of time. He will give me back when I'm working on his behalf. And I keep that before me. So time, not so much money. I'm beyond all that. That's provided for me. I go to work every day. I'm not a selfish person. So I don't mind digging deep in my pockets, giving back in the event that something isn't there immediately when I need it. So just time, and I need to continue to be positive for other people, because I do believe that life has this boomerang effect, that what you make happen for other people, God will make it happen for you.
What we do with that dash of our life. That's what
that dash. That's right. I'm working on an assignment now about the legacy, and it's what's in between the day you were born and the day you died. What are they going to have to say about you? And I would like to think they're going to say, she made a difference. She made a difference. And I can't stop now believing I've made a difference, even knowing that I have. I can't stop there because there's a drive. It gives you this energy to move forward, go further, impact more. You can do more.
And you will. This has been amazing. I so appreciate you for sharing your time, for sharing your stories, and for sharing your accomplishments and taking just a moment on the gifted table to have your own bragging rights about all the ways you've blessed others and how you have been blessed. So thank you so much.
Dr. Harris, thank you so much for having me. And I have to tell you, you've always been an inspiration of mine as well. I'm surrounded by women who are highly educated women that's impactful. And I have to tell you that you are on the list.
Thank you so much. Oh, I appreciate you and I love you so. This has been amazing, everyone. I know that you have enjoyed this episode, so be sure to like this video. Don't forget to share it with others and subscribe to The Gifted Table if you're not already a subscriber. And always remember, stay grounded, innovative, fierce, transparent every day. In other words, stay gifted. See you next time.